remember, champion diversity was big, and we did talk about jungle v jungle, and there's only been one jungle ban coming through. So outside of the Jinx lyric, we have a couple of options available for Tarzan to get up early.
Yeah, Thresh is taken away, so Jarvan priority definitely up for the fact that you're going up against an immobile AD carry if you want to try and lock them down. Zhao obviously being the other standout. You'd expect Tarzan probably wanting to go towards one of these, and then you would expect the answer of AD carry, which did just come through with the Aphelios.
Okay, so Aphelios for light, and it's also been a favorite as of last summer. Remember that LvMao, he's that support that likes to roam. So we'll see if he gets something like the Leona lyric or and a couple other sports. We've seen it Brom today too. Hold for now. Zhao is going to be picked up, so a pretty standard one for Tarzan.
Yeah, now for Rear Adam, it is their time to answer. Leyan, I think, is one of the junglers who's more willing to pull out abstract champions, so I'm not quite sure if they would just go for something like the expected Jarvan pick here. And you'd expect support to be what follows through as well. We've obviously been seeing a ton of things like Leona coming out today. You could go Enchanters for the fact that we do have these two hyper carries in bot. And Corki Prio is only raising higher and higher every day. And I love to see it because we've already gone off on how absolutely strong this champion looks right now.
They're two big power picks. Seeing Jinx and Corki next to each other, and then let's see for Leyan. He did pick this out before, so we've already seen a Rek'Sai tonight. This will be the second time for Leyan, so Rek'Sai once again lyric.
And we need to remember that he went a different build than Zhao Peng went earlier today. Zhao Peng went the Stride Breaker into tank build. Yep, we saw Leyan going with the lethality Rek'Sai. That does just look to get on top of people, burst them out, and do a ton of damage early on. So we'll be interested to see if they decide to keep that one up with the fact that they have indicated they kind of want to go more for these front-to-back team fights. And we look at both drafts. We're getting the same thing. We always get Hysterics. We're getting this like battle of range, front to back team fight, scaling, yada 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 yada. It is another day in the LPL.
Classic, absolutely classic. I like that we see Viktor. Everyone finds that the most interesting champ in the league. I do like as well that we're seeing something like the Rek'Sai, which can influence some of these lanes. Where last game we saw the Rek'Sai and it was like, well, what can they do with it? How is it as a response? Seems like a bit more options this time, Lyric, because Rare Adam, when you have power picks like that, props to Leyan.
Yeah, Leyan just always being able to pull something out of his pool. For LNG, I wonder here if you are looking to blind top from the fact you are banning out some of these strong top lane counter picks and then saving your last pick for support is always an option. Trying to guarantee yourselves that winning 2v2 bottom lane. RA, though, trying to pinch out supports themselves. So we do still have things like Nautilus potentially left open. We already hit on Enchanters earlier on, so Lulu would not be surprising to see next to the Aphelios. We got this bot lane a ton at Worlds going up against the Lucian Nami. Typically was coming out ahead in terms of pressure, especially with most teams playing around that lane.
Lyric. Lulu there. Nautilus on the other side. I'm sorry, but things looking like a similar direction to what we've seen over the past week, over the starting week of LPL. With a bottom lane set up for the Jinx. We'll just wait for that one to come through from Zorah. Where do we finish, Luke? Run me through the rest of the draft. You're a genius.
Top lane, I don't know. Things like Gwen, theoretically, still left open. Very strong blind pick that we've been seeing coming through multiple times. That is locked in. I was now correct once. That is enough for the day. Hysterics, what are we rounding out with?
Jax, of course, because it's already there. And because in the LPL, we do like this matchup. Have you noticed a lot of top laners will willingly take Jax into Gwen, hoping for the scaling that you always talk about, the lane matchup that teams can play towards.
And this is also just a very Ala pick, right? Gonna be able to bring it out. We've seen he's also not even been afraid to bring out things like the Fiora already. Very much leaning into his preferred style of play. For the side of RA, we already talked about a lot of the range coming out from the fact that Jinx just does outright outrange the Aphelios, Corki, as well as the Rockets. But it's not too big of a disadvantage for the side of LNG. At least you do have the Enchanter to buff up these team fights. But I like RA's comp because of some of the agency coming out from picks like the Nautilus. I am concerned about the Rek'Sai on the opposite side. LNG, though, no frontline. You're going to be relying on the Lulu quite a bit to be able to buff up Tarzan.
Sure.
Then in teamfights, Tarzan, where they have lost probably the biggest star they had in terms of gameplay in Fofo, will be quite miraculous if they can make a similar run.
Why we talked about Strive coming through versus Doinb in our LNG versus Rare Atom series to close off the night. It's a Saturday night. You might be sitting in front of your screen thinking, man, Saturdays are spicy, Saturdays are sexy, and LNG's home stadium is flaring up the Summoner's Rift. So that was nice to see there. The Dragon, of course, from Li Ning. And they're sitting in River to start this one off. Now, Lyric, Jungle 2v2 for Doinb and Tarzan. Something we may have to mention shortly, as long as iBoy gets out of there. How do you stop him? I don't think you do.
Oh, looks like RA wanted to look to contest this one, though.
He walked in, but he knew they were there. iBoy saw him. They saw them. What?
Yeah, I'm not... I mean, it looked like they were expecting Strive to come through on a flank position, but I don't really know how much they expected him to be able to do. Leyan now forced to flash. LNG just going to disrupt a bit of time because they weren't able to take away the red buff. So Tarzan actually going to be a little bit behind in terms of clear compared to Leyan, but still, RA getting a nice trade.
That's level 1, but I think LvMao's just going to die. iBoy's chasing after him. Heal for the movement speed. All it takes is one more rocket, but LvMao has enough on the feet. iBoy burns both summoners, but LvMao the same. And that's a very early back to give bot lane over to Rare Atom.
Still, ultimately, though, you lost AD carry sums for support sums. I don't think LNG are feeling too bad about it.
Okay.
I didn't want to say it in Champ Select because I thought it would be kind of disrespectful. But I felt very scared for LNG the moment I saw LvMao lock in a champion that isn't some generic tank that can freely walk around the map. And at least sometimes not die. Because now if LvMao makes mistakes, he is just doomed to not be able to play the game at all and will be an easy point for Rare Atom to look to punish.
Okay.
We've already talked about how RA at least showed in the first series that they did like to heavily play around their bot lane quite a bit. Leyan this round did path towards top side. You do have potential gank angles to come in with those tunnels, especially with the fact that Ala is pushing pretty far forward.
See if the Leyan can make his way to the top side. Tarzan's also here, though, so matching for now. There's a ward on Raptors, and RA can see that it hasn't been started. So for Leyan, taking Scuttle Crab, feels like it's going to add a lot of control. Pings at both camps. RA have a very good idea as Tarzan will shortly walk into vision.
Yeah, Tarzan now being shown, so RA can start crafting some plans around this. Their bot lane coming off a reset, so maybe for Leyan, look to back off, go down towards the bottom half of the map where you do still have your Krugs up. Try and set up a potential gank on the enemy bot lane where you do have double long sword advantage on iBoy. Heck, RA's bot lane even going to be picking up the Scuttle Crab.
Yeah, bit of extra gold in the pocket. 77 for iBoy. He'll be walking down as the wave builds up. And note that Light's catching up, but look at the size of the wave. iBoy will catch the majority of this, hit level 3 himself. And for Lyric, he's already got a double longsword. So a great start when you have a Jinx hyper carry. When 5 minutes before the game even starts, she's in a comfortable position.
And now we're potentially going to see maybe even a 3v3. RA looks like they're going to try and set this one up. Tarzan waiting in the wings just in case a gank would come out. Both junglers should have a decent idea of where each other are because of the past wards that they have seen each other on.
Cool. And I remember you saying it's good that AD carry for LNG. They'll take the trade considering iBoy has no summoners. This would be a massive punish that puts Light back in contention. iBoy's paying respect. Little bit sus. Zorah's like, okay, brother, I'll do it. There's a zap. Dodged, but they're actually in there. Surprise! iBoy, how you getting out? Grabbing him. Inferno, one more hit. It is LvMao who picks up first blood. Unfortunate for Light, but still sneaky gets the worm.
Yeah, the zap does not spot them out. They start to walk forward. Zorah pops the sweeper. Just too late, though. Numerous members of LNG flashing forward, both Light and Tarzan doing that one. They guarantee the kill over for Light. He's going to be sitting on some pretty nice gold for his reset. We're going to jump straight into the replay. Like you said, they were respecting. They knew something was up. They dodged out on the W. Sweeper comes through, but it doesn't matter. The flashes had already come out from the members of LNG. Light able to pick that one up. Actually, LvMao able to pick that one up with the help of Light.
So LvMao gets a kill, but at least Light gets some kind of relaxation in the lane, Lyric. Evens out a little bit as well after pushing the wave. Berserker Greaves on the way back. Does that change a lot for you? Does it feel like LNG now controls back in their court, or are you a little bit worried at the fact that Leyan has a bit of a CS lead?
Oh, no, I definitely think this is fine for LNG right now. This might not be fine for Ala. Is Cube threatening? Just going to force him off. Not too much going to be able to follow through on that one. Light did start to buy pickaxe and longsword, instead deciding to refund them and pick up the Berserker's Greaves, maybe wanting to respect the hook coming out from Zorah, having an easier time to look to sidestep that one, have more attack speed, easier to last hit. Makes a lot of sense. And for both teams, right, either one feels fine pulling it late. For LNG, you will have the ultimate side laner later on, assuming, you know, Jax is able to get there. You do still have power points in both Viktor and Aphelios. The thing is, will we be able to close the gap, be able to get on top of Jinx and Corki? You do have the speed up coming from the Lulu to try to set up Tarzan to enable all that.
You have talked about the Rek'Sai and what it does in the late game, because we know Rek'Sai falling off as a champion, but acting more as a frontline, the space closer, or sorry, the stopgap between people getting on iBoy and Stride.
Yeah, he'll still be functioning that role. It won't be as efficient as earlier because we are seeing Leyan is going the lethality route once again.
Good point.
So obviously we'll just get bursted out if you try to survive as that front line. At least Rek'Sai always provides the value of tremor sense later on. It is something that can somewhat be played around, so it won't be all too impactful, but still will be quite nice. Right now that we are at the level 6 mark, so we will be looking to see if Leyan can find some sort of impact. Looks like this wave top is going to be pushing into Cube, so maybe Leyan can try and find something up towards that route. Still seems like both teams heavily investing in their bottom lanes, though.
They really are. The tunnels, though, point towards the top side, actually spread through the jungle of Leyan, and he's now level 6. So the Predator can start taking control, or at least continue in the fact. Both jungles bottom side as well. And I want to point out that throughout CS leads in the game, the biggest one we're talking about is the jungle, but you look at mid, Doinb up by about 6, 7, 8 CS max. Strive just trading off now. Not even. It's even. Top side, even enough with Ala having somewhat of a lead as the Jax lyric. So I'm waiting for some of these objectives to spawn because it's now your turn to tell me what happens around next dragon. Herald that's now spawned as well. LNG are already moving up their bot side. They're full committing the 5-man unit.
Well, it looks like RA are actually not going to go for the contest. I'd be surprised if they go for this. I think you should just start maneuvering your jungle and support back down towards the bottom side of the map. Get some more deep vision in enemy jungle. There's some camps down there that if Leyan was there, would be able to find it and take some of those away. But instead, they just stare at the members of LNG. They lose the Herald. iBoy is pushing the wave in bot, so it's fine. Hook comes out.
But no mana to follow up for Doinb. Double summoners there. Strive gets hit with a bit of Chaos Storm, but Zorah will just take that, and LNG back away, knowing that the Herald's in their pocket.
So, you know, I am now reverse Unoing.
Okay.
And can ask you a question about what we expect now.
Yeah.
Because here we are in an LPL game, 9 minutes, 1 kill. Crazy players like Doinb, like Tarzan, who like a lot of action. iBoy's in here. But that's not happening. Which one of the Rock's life lessons can we apply to this situation to get through it?
I think in Moana, when Rock's on that island, and, you know, let's be honest, he's not a very nice guy. He's a demigod, and he sings "You're Welcome." It's the opposite of whatever that is. Because your welcome is when the blood comes through for the blood god. And it would make sense if he's a demigod in Moana. And if you haven't seen Moana, you're either not cute enough, or you need to go and, you know, probably get Disney Plus. Now, this is not advertising, but if, you know, Disney wants to sponsor the broadcast, that'd be cool as well. Ignite's down. Needlework's actually here for Ala. And look at this. Prey Seeker for the ultimate to come through. Time to unburrow on the Jax. Spin wants to win. Leyan gets his first kill of RA for this series.
Yep, even goes for the flash, doesn't want to waste any time. They do get 1 kill. They are going to make sure that he loses out on a bit of farm. Tarzan will be picking that one up instead. Jungler very happy that his laner died. Now he gets some more nice golden EXP. Opposite side, though, we see iBoy and Zorah still doing quite a bit of work. Still feeling quite pressured from the 2v2 strength that the Nautilus and Jinx do bring. Leyan should be making his way down towards that side of the map now, so I'd say at least cover for your bot lane to be able to hit turret more freely like they've been doing, getting some more of those plates onto Jinx before those time out in a few minutes.
Because it was where the game started. It started with iBoy, it started with Zorah, and iBoy forcing LvMao out of lane. The response that came through from LNG is good, but I also want to point out that we're 1,000 gold ahead for RA, which is pretty big. Zorah, leave Doinb alone. He's kind of bullying right now and constantly roaming around, but he might be caught out for a wind becomes lightning and a knockup at the ready to flash away. Zorah, dredge line, keeps him safe for now. Lyric, it's 45 seconds until Dragon, and there's a couple of summoners that have gone down, like Leyan's Flash, like Zorah's, that we might have to keep track of if this turns into a fight.
Yeah, and for LNG as well, they still have Rift Herald, so they'll be able to drop that whether they want to do it bot now, which it doesn't look like, or they can even send a Tarzan mid in like 30 seconds, drop that one, use it to get a plate, pivot that into river control, and start setting up for Dragon. So you have a lot of options on the side of LNG to at least turn that Rift Herald into some kind of pressure. Again, you're going to get some gold from turret, and then push yourself into an area of the map. Looks like they might just start heading towards top side, consciously giving up this Dragon and playing for Allah.
Waiting for that needlework to come through again. Teleport's not unleashed, folks. So even though Allah doesn't have his own, Cube can't come down unless he takes the turret, unless he comes there first. RA on this first, though. And Lyric, even with the Herald, it looks like for LNG, they're just going to hold on to it for a little bit longer while RA takes the second Dragon. Unfortunately, Hextech and Chemtech both now down. We go into a cloudy rift. And LNG, topside, is going to be the goal.
And for LNG, they realize, hey, they don't want to look to contest right now. They don't have control over the bottom half of the map. We can see iBoy and Zorah already pushing in bot. Before the play even started, Strive had pushed in mid-wave. Doinb was catching that under tower. So now LNG going for the cross map, going to try and set up the dive onto Cube. We do have ultimates out for all three of LNG's top side. TP on Strive can try to match.
And there's the TP that's being used right now, and Leyan's behind them. For LNG, they made a dive like this, Lyric, in their first series, and it didn't end too well, so you gotta be careful. It's backfiring again. You may get the Rek'Sai, but Allah's gonna die. Tarzan's next win becomes lightning, but Cube, it's snippy time in the bottom lane. The Zephyr Crescendum, and that's a dirty duo from LNG.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are we building tension?
We're building. No. It's your turn to shine. I don't talk over you. It's an online broadcast, but we don't talk over each other.
I don't talk over you either. Point is, we're gonna get a replay, I assume. Actually, we're getting a replay of what I didn't expect. We're getting a replay of what happened in bot lane. Zorah catching out the duo of LNG, getting some nice poke off onto them. So, okay, that's how things like ignites and heals were burned in the previous exchange. A bit surprised we're getting a replay of the top lane kerfuffle. We do now have mythics coming out on both sides. We can see Riftmaker up there for Cube. And here we go. They set up this play because RA just had control of bot side of the map. We're looking for the Dragon. Luckily, though, Strive does have TP. They did buy enough time for Leyan to be able to get up here as well. Cube dashing out, not getting caught down by the gravity field. Instantly goes in. They take away one member in Doinb. Still, though, a solid amount of damage from Tarzan. Even flashes in to finish off that last kill, but isn't going to stop Cube from being able to pick up the third kill for the side of RA. Strive now 2 kills on the Corki, 1-0 and 3 on the Gwen and top side. RA soul laners feeling good.
But Lyric, why does this happen again? LNG versus Ultra Prime, they decided to dive top. Doinb entered, and then Allah, I think, was caught in the crossfire. It was Tarzan. They've done it again. They've dove top, and it's been a lot bloodier than they wanted. RA now with a 1.5k gold lead, and, you know, I'm going to be remembering that from LNG, because it's the second time it's happened, and diving was Doinb's speciality, but I'm not so sure I'm going to say that so far.
It also just comes from some of the timings of how long these teams wait to go opposite side of the map. I think you see a lot of teams just kind of posture stare at each other after 5 to 10 seconds wait to look to make that play, which then obviously gives time for the other team that was doing their own play to reset, come and match you, put more resources into what you're doing, like we saw RA do there. RA now having a Rift Herald of their own are just going to drop this one outright on top side. We see Light and LvMao pushing it down in bot with Tarzan. So again, the cross map just keeps going.
Just, but for RA, they're going to get the turret first, or excuse me, actually they got a second. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but the Herald will still get another charge. Zorah's up here. This turns into a deeper dive. But now the damage has been done. iBoy still huge. Here with the Kraken Slayer. He's starting to chip away at Arla too. LvMao's by his side just in case. And for RA, the gold keeps up. 3,000 Lyric. Sorry, that's a 6. We went 240p for a moment. We're at 1,000. So we're not quite there, but it definitely feels significant considering those mythics you talked about are all coming through. And we're on the way to second items quite handedly for Rare Adam in this mid game.
This also feels like Rare Adam's comfort zone if we're going off of what we saw last year, right? Rare Adam to me was the try to have stronger laners don't really transfer pressure from lane to lane and then just group up a dragon when it spawns and just hope we out-mechanic them. And by we out-mechanic them, I mean Fofo pops off. Maybe every now and then iBoy joins him. So RA kind of defaulting back to that play style of, sure, we actually have seen the team bring it together a little bit in the early game in terms of moving from lane to lane, but still just going to rely on this dragon stacking. Next Drake up in 30 seconds. Looks like Strive does have the package available, so RA should be feeling pretty solid about this one.
Package usage good today, Lyric. Orcs doesn't have to be, sad about this. Considering that what we saw yesterday from Yagal made him cry inside. 10 seconds till Dragon, though, and this is going to be sole point if RA can get this. They are in the river first, but iBoy's taking a chunk from Doinb, who's low on mana but has the blue buff, regenerating it slowly, piece by piece. Look at where Ala is on the bottom. And they're just like, nah, it's a Cloud Dragon, forget it. Sell point achieved, and LNG will just push mid, but they won't get turret.
It also goes to the fact that we hit on, like, who really can safely walk into river here? They'd have to coordinate it. Oh, Tarzan!
Here we go, onto Zorah. It's going to be the lockdown immediately. You trade 1-for-1, but the jungler down for support. Much better trade for Rare Adam. Leyan with the Prowler's Call at the ready, and the package is still in hand. Light here with suboptimal guns, and for RA Lyric, I mean, they'll just keep taking waves. They'll go into enemy jungle. You just try and push this lead forward.
For RA, you just traded support for jungle, so they are feeling incredibly happy with that one. Instantly pivot from Dragon to putting down more wards around the Baron pit. That objective will be up in about 2.5 minutes, so wanting to make sure no sneaky shenanigans come out from that one. You always know a team with Doinb on it can go to that Baron at a moment's notice. And we're getting to a point where, again, I just like what RA put together. We're on soul point. The Corki's getting pretty massive. iBoy not really behind Light at all, despite some of the early action we did see around bot lane, keeping up in CS and in terms of items. And we're going to get the replay of LNG trying to find the fight. Tarzan instantly going in, gets completely bursted out, but Zorah putting himself in harm's way into the Chaos Worm, evens it out for LNG to be able to pick one up on the back end.
Really good stuff so far from RA. Again, the narrative being that RA is this team that we saw downgrades on. We know that Cube's still there, Leyan's still there, iBoy's still there, but there's no Hung, who, is making Cagel a very happy man. I'm sure it's making Dom a happy... Everyone's a happy man or woman when they watch Hung. But Zorah is a noticeable downgrade, and Strive as well has a lot to prove replacing Fofo. I put this team 10th as opposed to... What did they finish? 5th or 6th? In the last split because of those changes, and they're holding toe-to-toe with LNG in this game. They have a gold lead. They have 3 dragons. LNG trying to catch up in gold, but there's always a trade Lyric. Again, that baseline, RA are holding it really strong, and LNG, they can't find a trade that is not matched.
It's really interesting as well, because when you go for trading towers on the opposite side of the map, it really just accelerates the game so much faster, right? Breaking all these structures, getting you to pivotal gold points even faster. And when we hit on that, both comps are kind of running hyper carries in both of their traditional roles. Heck, actually all 3 lanes. We even think about Gwen and Jax coming in. Yeah. But it's going to be... I think it's going to be pretty hard-earned and close fight either way. The smallest of, mechanical slip-ups can definitely turn a fight. Like I said, I kind of like what RA's put together a little bit more, just because we've hit on it so much of, Corki Jinx together. Just looks absolutely ridiculous. And heck, even Gwen right now, Cube is huge. And
I love the fact that for Leyan alongside Strive as well, there's so much ganking potential. I love the counter-strike, but he can't get near Strive anymore. Leyan picks up another kill. That's number 2. And Cube's been ganked on the top lane. This is LNG's response, and maybe they can trade it off. But Cube has ulti, Ignite TP. None of that's going to be able to be used, at least not for now. Onto LvMao. He's been polymorphed, and Cube trying to survive his way out, but Gwen ain't as immune as you think. 4 members move to the top side, Lyric.
Baron?
Baron for the bottom turret, because for Strive, he doesn't have TP, Lyric. He's got to walk over.
Yeah, Strive has to walk over. Strive is half HP and only has half of his mana bar as well. You're going to be missing out on a little bit. LNG have a lot of time. They also have pretty decent guns for this, since they do have the Chakrams able to come out for Light.
Now, Light doesn't have ulti, but look at the stacking here in the middle of the pit. The Chakrams are absolutely massive and still hitting away from Baron, but Light puts down a turret, and now you're going to see the damage come through. Zorah's already dead. Doinb smithereens his iBoy's HP bar. 3 members dead, and I guess RA just wanted to die.
Yeah, Cube getting caught out while the other members made a pick on the opposite side of the map. So very easy for LNG to pivot this into a Baron bait. They find the turn. RA are in a really this bad situation from the previous map states where it's like, well, if you contest, you're probably going to lose out on this 5v5 because of the positioning and control that LNG have. If you don't contest, you're just giving over a free Baron. And ultimately, this looks like it's going to end up the same as LNG's last games, where it was very, very dicey the whole time, but they find one clutch situation where they're able to bring it back.
Well, as The Rock would say, blood, sweat, and respect. First two you give, last one you earn. And LNG in this game number 1, it might have been a dicey early game, but they've really earned it with the last play, Lyric, because for RA, they couldn't get anywhere near this Baron without getting absolutely destroyed.
You know, I feel like the Rock quote that we used last time can describe LNG pretty well this game. Okay. The whole, if the Rock punches you, it kills you. But if the punch doesn't kill you, the wind from the punch gives you pneumonia and you die anyway. LNG's not punching you that hard, but the after breeze though,
that's cold.
Hitting you.
Yeah, that's very cold. Strive with the pack.
I gotta say, that's a banger quote, but we gotta fight.
Yeah, we do indeed. In for Zorah, but he's dead immediately. Now Tarzan needs to steal this, and he's done it! No soul for you, Rare Adam. 4 members running away as Ala is a busy boy, spinning with the helicopter. He's flashed away to not absorb the damage as LvMao goes down, and wow! Super Mega Death Rocket with an absolute big one. Strive on the chase, the needlework. It's just a little tip. Tarzan, the what? Strive is a madman! That target selection, Lyric, that was insane!
I'm gonna tell you guys, I think this champion, the amount of damage Corki does is just so ridiculous, especially from a safe distance. They come in, LNG do come and take away Baron, Dragon put themselves in such a dangerous position. Strive absolutely able to capitalize, and RA turning it into a turret of their own, still holding the gold lead, still having these massive carries, and still feeling pretty good about the next 5 minutes.
6-1 and 3. I'm ready to watch that again. I don't expect him to alter the right side as the fighting continues with Doinb chasing down Cube, but after all has been recent plays of LNG blowing up Rare Adam in their face, RA still got some fire under their wings, Lyric, and I'm not talking about FPS.
RA, nice turnaround. LNG come in, they find the first pick, instantly force everyone out of the pit. But then this is where the turn potential is able to come, right? Because for the side of LNG, we talked about they don't really have a lot of great engage either. It's pretty much Tarzan running in with the speed up coming from Lulu or Jax. So then once the engage fails, once RA are able to kite out, they have really great turn potential. You have the follow up with the Valkyrie coming out from Strive. Really nice rocket and beautiful E coming out to guarantee all those kills.
Oh my god, 7,000 damage, and you tell me Corki feels balanced, Lyric. Honestly. And you know what? This build is so much fun to watch. I love the fact that it's a crit build this time. And we're still getting the same thing from the rockets and the Corki phosphorus bomb.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun when enough things get nerfed around the meta, or I guess in this case certain items or runes coming in, that we always default back to the Corki Viktor. Hey, this time though, we don't have Azir.
Oh,
it's different.
Yeah, well, Azir's a new champion if we see it locked in, so we'll have to wait and see. Maybe we get Corki Azir meta again. We know chat loves that. We know that Corki Azir meta is actually one of the most exciting metas in League of Legends, so we'll have to wait and see, guys.
It's cool because in that meta, you can bring out weird pocket picks like Vel'Koz counter the Azirs, and then you start to get a little bit more interesting. But then typically when those start to come in is when Riot realizes like, hey, let's actually just nerf these champions or buff other things.
Yeah. Either way, we'll have to wait and see what comes through. No people will be talking at that one. Lyric, game state. You're going to have to walk me through. There's a 3k gold lead for Rare Adam. Soul was denied, but it is a Cloud Soul, and we are going to get another one in 2 minutes. Rare Adam are back in control.
Yeah, for RA, right? We've hit on this a lot over the last few days. Jinx definitely going to have mid-control up against the Aphelios. They're keeping Nautilus and Leyan with him as well, so even some threat from potential engages able to come out. Strive going to have pressure up against Viktor in the side lane. For LNG, your only point of pressure is going to be this Jax matchup. But heck, even Gwen technically ahead in terms of items, already on his way to his 3rd item. Almost a whole item up over Ala. So for RA, you're kind of just pushing in your lanes. Baron should be up later on. I assume we're going to be looking towards Dragon first, but the fact that it's Cloud, so I think not too pivotal for RA's composition. Looks like they want to try and find a pick around topside first.
And Tarzan's walking in, but iBoy's actually the target. He's burnt down Doinb. That's an assisted kill with LvMao. But iBoy getting caught out. Name something more iconic after he starts the game 0-3.
That is, you know, I'd say it's not as iconic as it once was. He definitely still gets caught out quite a bit. But I feel like other players have come in and just kind of taken that title away.
Icon? Yeah, absolutely. So 0-3.
Wait, Icon, wait, what?
sometimes he was. Like, you gotta be
Icon
honest.
had a good Icon had a good
He had
summer
an
split.
amazing
Maybe
summer
not the
split.
best worlds, but a good summer split.
You know what? Babe, let's talk about spring. I think there's you and I have to have this conversation, you understand, when Icon plays again. He's off. He's off. We'll talk about it later. Let's not implicate me any further. Dragon's coming up in 15 seconds, Lyric. That's what you should talk about.
Dragon coming up. LNG are the team with control right now, but RA doing a nice maneuver, going towards Baron, trying to pull LNG away, force them into an area where they don't have as much vision. So down, they do have that control ward though, so they do spot them out. And looks like Allah just going to solo Dragon by himself.
I think package was actually used on the Baron buff, but it's reset. LNG move up one. They're going to get the Dragon. RA have already pulled off of this, and for Allah, he should do it quick enough. Not the heaviest jacks right now, but doing well enough. Lyric, RA is snipping it down. You can see already Zorah started the engage onto Tarzan, but he's half HP once again. The Nautilus so squishy. The ulti from Light doesn't get into the backline. It's stolen. No, it's not. RA get it. Leyan, after he picks that one up, looking for the enemy jungler, but that's picked up by iBoy, who's respawned. 5 versus 4. So Mega Death Rocket does a little bit, but pops Light's shield. And the Immortal Shield Bow now down. RA running away. They've got Baron in hand on all 5 members. And killing Tarzan was the creme de la creme.
If you notice in the bottom right hand of our screen, Allah was a little bit indecisive with starting Dragon or moving with the team. He was kind of like waddling back and forth in front of it when the rest of LNG were moving up, and it seems like it was a late call to be like, hey, commit to this. Giving RA a bit more time to where, had the Dragon been done earlier, RA had already disengaged off the Baron once to try to find the engage, right? They wouldn't have time to go back for that second time and potentially burst it down. RA, though, did. They were able to find some kills on the back half, and we're going to get to see here in the replay. Allah's still not done with Dragon, is only finishing it now. RA already has Baron to less than 50% HP, so Zorah doing a nice job to buy time. And then Tarzan trying to secure the steal, flashes in, pretty much guarantees that he is going to go down. And now with numbers disadvantage, the other members of LNG are just so scared they run away. And we come back onto the map where RA are sieging down in bot.
Oh, over the wall. Look at Zorah. Polymorphed and Doinb's chaos storming him away, but the ambition was there. And another composition today, Lyric, that has a Corki, that has Baron with a Jinx as well, that is going to be very scary for LNG to try and stop.
That will be massive for the side of RA, though. They're just going to keep pushing in the base.
Jack spin.
Looks like they do have Allah trading on the opposite side of the map, but RA might just go for the end.
I mean, Light's not... I think Light was getting red buff. RA are going to push forward and at least denied for now. Baron enhanced recall from Leyan. He's going back as Allah is just like, nah, man, I call you. He's still going. They've stopped the ports. They've stopped the ports of all but 2. So LNG is still pushed out.
Allah still won't be able to get too much off of this, though. He's still going to be forced to back off. Now, LNG not in a position to collapse on the members retreating on a bot side like they potentially could have been. So instead, we are just back to a little bit of a neutral map state. RA obviously up about 4,000 gold right now, having a massive Jinx and massive Corki, which feels like it'll be a difference maker. Viktor being the huge member on the opposite side. Still nowhere close to Dragon or Baron right now, so for RA, they're probably going to start getting vision set up towards top side, allowing Cube to push in a bit safely, maybe try and set up for some picks with Leyan before pivoting down towards bot side in about 2 minutes.
Which is why it's probably a good time to talk about items, because I do see a Serpent's Fang on Leyan. I see a 3-item lethality jungler that'll probably rip Light and Doinb to shreds. Even with the crown there, as soon as that's gone and the Banshees fail, Doinb could be toast as well. The 4-1-3 Viktor, who's the strongest member right now of LNG. And I point out the Rek'Sai because for Leyan, second time around that he's pulled out this pick, and it looks like yet another win. Banshee's Veil, Edge of Night is going to be down in Lyric. Look at this 2-pronged front that LNG are struggling to clear away.
and they're still just committing all to pushing out in the side lane, knowing that they really don't have the... He doesn't have any ability to influence siege coming out from the other members of RA, right? Doinb and Light are all of your wave clear, so he's going to try and generate pressure on the opposite side, make sure that inhibitor isn't pushing in. RA, though, don't need to feel concerned about it because that inhibitor is down. They can just keep members like Strive and iBoy in front of this turret, free hitting it. They will be able to take it.
Zorah.
Now it's going to be up to LNG if they want to look for an engage.
Well, Tarzan's going into Crescent Guards there immediately. Support getting low from RA once again, but Zorah survives, but Tarzan does not. Cube gets it with the end of the needlework, and the Chaos Storm being down is huge. Light still with his ulti, the ultimate from LvMao still there too. I actually have not seen a wild growth in a little bit. Maybe I'm blind, chat. You can tell me. iBoy going forward after getting excited. And aren't we all excited to see RA in a winning position in game number 1 against LNG? Because this has been so good to watch as iBoy gets low, but LNG's turn is here. On top of Cube, could be huge, but into the choke against a Viktor and an Aphelios. You don't want to be there. Shurikens at the ready. Light has the range as well. Another one bites the dust. RA running for their life. 2 members dead, Lyric. Sieging the base a much harder task than they thought.
Yeah, Rare Adam, it seems like thinking that maybe certain members would get picked off anyway, so maybe they'll have a better chance in the fight rather than just letting Cube get picked off. So we see Zorah, who was low HP, throw out a hook, pretty much instantly goes down. Cube was already chunked out for pushing the turret. Just easy setup for the side of LNG, who did have full health bars and are fighting on their own terrain. Luckily for the side of RA, Dragon is about to come up. They are going to be looking to pick up the soul. Tarzan and LvMao might have something to say about it, though.
Okay, that's a teleport of epic proportions. Doinb can't join that as he's taken heal, ladies and gentlemen. This is for the Cloud Soul. LNG have 2. Third for RA. This will be number 4. Hanging around River Lyric, and the poke from Strive is huge. The package too. Doinb has to defend because supers are running into the base. Forget the Cloud Soul. Making sure that no backdoors coming through. That's going to be the priority.
And RA just going to instantly pivot up towards mid and top. They already have bought an inhibitor. They don't need to go for that one. Push this wave, try and sync up with the Gwen and top side. Put down some of this pain and just completely open the base on the side of RA. LNG had numbers advantage, but still, you got to respect the amount of damage coming out from Corki. They don't overcommit because of those inhibs that are down. And RA just going to be able to continue up with the siege, maybe potentially until something like a Baron comes out and you can try and bait out that objective, or just, you know, outright burn it if LNG don't come look for a fight.
15 more now, Lyric. Make it 10. Baron buff going to be spawning soon. Strive's package is timed out. So one threat that, honestly, in the grand scheme of things, is small. RA have much more in their back pocket. Folks, Baron here. LNG are coming out of their base. There's a ward up in that top side. There's supers pushing in through bot. There's a teleport available for Strive and Baron buff there. Strive is level 18. As Baron enhanced recalls come through, LNG make a beeline back to their own fountain. And another objective given over. The gold continues to grow. Getting towards that late game stage, Lyric. I think we're here where it's going to take one fight or, you know, a 5-item Corki or 4 to end it pretty soon.
I was going to say, I feel like it's pretty fair to say that we're at the late game point with the fact that we are 4 items on all of our hyper carries. Heck, even Doinb sitting with an elixir in his inventory right now. And for LNG, you're really keeping your eyes on Doinb because you kind of need RA to come into. Maybe Tarzan find a nice knock up, instantly into the gravity field, Moonlight Vigil to follow, and trying to find this massive AoE burst on numerous members. I think RA can play with a little bit more free-flowing space, kind of Corki poking you at one angle, iBoy playing another one, and then you kind of being this zoning threat who can launch in any time if you look for the engage onto RA.
I like that Leyan is playing the Predator here once again. On the other side, looking for Arla is that Shirelius from LvMao. Hasn't had the greatest game on this Lulu, and now that that's down as well, another tool that can close the gaps on top of people like iBoy, Strive as well. Look at the Nexus turrets. Arla has to defend, and the poke continues to come through. The last inhibitor turret's going to drop on down. The last inhibitor as well. An easy fix is Doinb outside the range of the dredge line. And Lyric, the Nexus turret stays standing, but man, for how long?
Maybe a decent little bit, because again, LNG do have pretty decent wave clear.
They do.
They can go at this for a while. For RA, though, just wait for 3 waves to come in. It will be a little bit before that bot wave comes in, so maybe just keep putting on this poke. Mid wave's going to come in soon.
Okay, there's the engage. There's the engage from Arlo as well, going golden. The Moonlight Vigil connects. I'm actually not sure it did too much. As double knock up from the depth charge. Doinb's one hit. Arlo as well, getting hit by Cube. Level 18 Gwen. It's cuteness once again, and the overload is surreal. RA beating LNG. You wouldn't have thought RA would beat top esports, but here we are, and yet again, this roster is doing so much work. Game 1's going to be theirs too against LNG. It's Rare Adam all the way.
RA coming in with numerous roster changes, not even using the starting roster we expected, with players like Leyan playing once again. Demacia Cup, they did kind of dabble. So to come in so strong with Leyan back on the roster after Demacia Cup, with new members like Strive coming in, with Zorah moving up from their academy team is quite amazing. Very sloppy win in their series against TS this game. Okay, this game was also a little bit sloppy, but it was very slow. RA, I think, looked decently comfortable the whole game. And LNG still just looks so messy.
They really do. Like, how does this team look messy when it's Tarzan and Doinb? A combo that makes sense in every book, and a team that went to Worlds. The change around is the support. The change around is mid. People called mid the weakness. And with I1D not on the roster, I mean, there are a lot of questions. I think LvMao as well, Lyric. Definitely not the best performing member on this team. LNG in a bit of a rut to open the season. And RA taking advantage. You're right, being so concise, being so calm across pretty much every step of the way.
And again, whenever we're early in the split, I always just wonder like what team structures are like. I can't wait till we start getting comms and mic checks from some of these teams to see who are the big vocal members and who are the ones bringing it together. Because it's pretty cool to see. With how many roster changes we've had in the LPL, I feel like a lot of teams are bound to and do look very rough to start out with. That's always really interesting to me when we do have teams that come together slightly better than others, to see maybe how the natural voices of the team sync up. Maybe people like the bot lane are just naturally more talkative, and it just syncs up to where it's easier to work with Leyan or so on and so forth. So maybe. Yeah, RA clearly have found something that is at least good enough to run early in the split and beat a lot of these teams that will also have growing pains.
Amazing to talk about. Again, I opened this segment mentioning that for RA, it's such a big moment because of the fact they beat top esports at the start of the split, because they're versing LNG, when LNG, you're right, are having these growing pains, it seems like. So there's a lot to talk about with RA and a lot to compliment there as well. I think we need to start by saying that Leyan and Strive are on the top of the list right now. Lyric, we can talk about it when we return.